It's so important that in this point in our understanding, that we don't start to feel bad about how we are. That there's no need to feel ashamed if you're a dependent. In fact, you can proudly say, I'm a dependent. Or you can proudly say, I'm an anti-dependent. Or you can even say, I'm a little bit of both. Because actually, the truth is, we all have a little bit of dependent and a little bit of anti-dependent. And often it depends on who we get in relationship with, which side actually starts to appear. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play you some songs, and you're going to know these songs, which is going to show you how prevalent, how obvious these two styles are in our culture. There are so many songs from the dependents which say, you know, you are my life and you are my sunshine, and without you, my life means nothing and I don't even want to live. You are everything to me. And this is so normal. So there's nothing to feel ashamed about. And the anti-dependent tends to idealize. Everything becomes like the eagle flying in the free sky, and the sky is mine, and I belong to the living universe, because the anti-dependent really has difficulty to focus on one person. So they like to spread their wings and fly high. And it's so important that if you're a dependent, you don't judge your partner who may be an anti-dependent, and don't see that you are right and they are wrong. It's so important at this point that if you're an anti-dependent, you don't feel disgust at the needs of the dependent, because that's how we hurt each other. We didn't have a choice in the childhood we had. And that childhood is what shaped these patterns. So enjoy these songs, and if you know the words, you can sing with them, because this is how we heal. If we judge things, and if we judge ourselves, and if we criticize each other, we're only going to stay stuck. So now we're going to play you the song, so please enjoy that.
思念是一种很玄的东西，如影随形，无声又无息，出没在心底，转眼吞没我在寂寞里，我无力抗拒，特别是夜里，想你到无法呼吸，恨不能立即朝你狂奔去，大声地告诉你，愿意为你，我愿意为你，我愿意为你忘记我心里，就算多一秒停留在你怀里，失去世界也不可惜。任时光匆匆流去，我只在乎你，心甘情愿感染你的气息。人生几何能够得到知己，失去生命的力量也不可惜。所以我求求你，别让我离开你，除了你我不能感到一丝丝情意。
无所谓，谁会爱上谁？无所谓，谁让谁憔悴？有过的幸福是短暂的美，幸福过 才不说的那么绝对，是与非，再不说我不后悔，破碎就破碎，要什么完美？放过了自己，我才能高飞。我知道我要的那种幸福，就在那片很高的天空。我要飞得更高，飞得更高，狂风一样舞蹈，争夺怀抱。我要飞得更高，飞得更高，翅膀牵起风暴，是一声呼叫，飞得更高。
So now that you've heard the songs, you can begin to see how common and how normal this is. And to make it even more flowing and even more understandable, I would like to do a very simple exercise with you. Now, this exercise, you're going to need a paper and you're going to do some writing. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to give you some words to say, both for the dependent and the anti-dependent. And you're going to be both the dependent and the anti-dependent. So let's start first with the dependent. So let me give you some examples. What you're going to say is, I am a dependent when. So here's an example. I'm a dependent when I call you at work 3 or 4 times in a day, maybe even more, because I suddenly feel lonely and I suddenly feel a bit anxious and I feel like I really want the connection. Because when I have that connection, I calm down. We can say, I'm a dependent when I keep my phone with me and I look at my phone every 2 minutes, even though I don't want anyone to see that I'm doing that, just in case you sent me a message. I'm a dependent when I'm always waiting to get some message from you, either a text or a WeChat. I'm a dependent when my whole attention is thinking about you, that I'm distracted. No matter what I'm doing, you're always on my mind, and I'm always wondering about our relationship. I'm a dependent when I want to look at your phone to make sure that no other woman sent you a message. I'm a dependent when I worry that maybe you found somebody that you like, and maybe you like them more than me. So those are some examples. And it's important to be honest. You don't have to worry about how you look and that somebody will maybe judge you. Because the anti-dependents, I'm going to ask you to do something similar. I'm an anti-dependent when I have this panic inside and I want to get away and I don't understand that panic. I'm an anti-dependent when I feel from 1 minute to the next suffocated, that I just can't breathe. I'm an anti-dependent when I see that you're calling me more than once or twice at work and I notice that I just want to close the phone and not talk to you. I'm an anti-dependent when I start to be angry that you need so much from me and I feel that nothing I do is ever going to be enough. I'm an anti-dependent when I realize that that's what my mother did to me. So we really want to open it up, but in a light and even playful way, so that you can begin to feel how these different spaces and different moods and different emotions live inside you. So I hope that you got some great insights from that little exercise. And that is a wonderful exercise to share with a partner, because it's a way of opening up this whole issue of dependent and anti-dependent without blaming or attacking each other. And actually, we can take it a little bit deeper. And what we want to look at now was, how did these patterns form in you through the way that you related to your own parents? So let me give you a small example. My father was a doctor, and he was very, very busy, and he worked very, very hard, and I didn't see him that much. And I really missed him. I really wanted to have more contact. But I noticed that when he came home from work and I would run to him, it would put him a little bit in stress, because he just needed space for himself. And I would then feel rejected. Later on, I could see that that was just the nature of his work. But as a child, I felt like I really, really missed my father. And so in relation to my father, and probably in relation to men, I developed this dependent pattern. And it was an interesting pattern, because I would always choose men who were unavailable. If there were 20 men in a room and 19 were available and one was unavailable and I had a blindfold on, I would find the unavailable one. Because that pattern of an unavailable father was so imprinted in my consciousness. With my mother, I had the opposite relationship. My mother worshipped me. She completely focused on me. She watched me. She looked at me. She invaded me. It was as if I was her property. And I felt that I just couldn't breathe around her. I couldn't get any space around her. She was always focused on me, and it made me so angry and rebellious. All I could think of was just pushing her away so I could get just a little bit more space for myself. So what is so important is that you look back into your childhood and you ask yourself, which pattern did I learn from my relationship with my mother? And how did that develop? How did that form in me? And which pattern did I learn in my relationship with my father? And how did those patterns now influence my adult relationship? Because that's precisely what happens. We learn these patterns through our interactions with our parents, and then we carry them over into our adult life, where we repeat them in a brilliant way. But if we could begin to connect the dots and see how we learn these patterns and how we continually re-engage and reenact them, we're really on our way to getting free. Now there's another possibility, and this I would also like you to have a look at. To ask yourself, what did I learn from observing the way my parents related with each other? Let's say, for example, you had parents that would fight. You as a child might look at that and say, I don't want to come close to anyone because I don't want to fight. So you become an avoidant. Or let's say you had parents who divorced. So you might say, I never want a divorce, so I'm either going to find somebody that I can stick with, or I'm not going to get too close to anyone in case we have to divorce. And that is something that, as many of you will know, has a very big effect on children. That children who come from divorced parents This creates a lot of insecurity and fear when they start to have adult relationships. Because divorce is really disturbing to the lives, to the emotional lives of the children who have to observe their parents splitting up. Especially if parents in some ways make the child choose who they love more, or if the hurt parent tries to get the children on their side against the other parent. And this is really important, even if it's painful, that we remember these things and we have the courage to talk about it to someone who we feel very safe with. And in this way, we really start a process of healing. Because if we keep all these thoughts and memories and feelings bottled up inside us, then all we can do is repeat the past and repeat the hurts. And so if we want to get free, this is what we suggest: to find a safe place, to look at these patterns, and to find someone to share them with. We are quite aware when we present this course that for some of you, to go back and have these memories and look at things that you might have pushed out of your consciousness might be painful. But what we want to encourage you is that this is a healing pain. This is a pain that will allow you to make progress and to heal these wounds. If these wounds remain buried inside you, it becomes more difficult to heal, and all what we do is we keep recycling these wounds in the couple. So please feel encouraged that it's not a bad thing to share, and it will bring you relief.